We're going to continue going season by season in the OHL History series. Today we land on the 2007-2008 OHL year. Now, there was a lot of shuffling going on behind the scenes. We touched on it in the last video where Eugene Melnick purchased the Mississauga IceDogs with the intention of having his Toronto St. Michael's Majors take over the lease at the Hershey Center. The Burke family purchased the IceDogs and would relocate the team to St. Catharines to become the Niagara IceDogs. So it was quite the transition here because in St. Catharines, they would play out of the Jack Gatecliff Arena. It was a throwback. The arena, built in 1938, still had the wooden benches. It was a sight, and the fans, of course, were right on top of the action. And one of the more unique facilities, although it's comparable to what the Majors were playing out of in St. Mike's, although I think St. Mike's' seating capacity was even less than what they had in St. Catharines. But the promise here was the IceDogs would play out of this facility until a brand new arena would be built. And of course, today, playing out of the Meridian Center. So yeah, it's come full circle for this team. And what was also fascinating about this year, or exciting, is the fact that this was the first year I covered the Ontario Hockey League. I was attending Niagara College at the time. I was in the broadcasting program. And my roommate and I, we went to the home opener for the Niagara IceDogs. It was against the Mississauga St. Mike's Majors. Actually, before the game, they handed out these pucks. So everyone who's in attendance got this game. It even shows on the back the inaugural game puck and mentioning the date. So September 21st, 2007. And after that game, my roommate and I, we decided, why don't we start our own radio show? The college had its own radio station. So we had a talk show talking about current events, but we also had a segment dedicated to the Niagara IceDogs. We would also get media passes, so we were at every home game for the IceDogs after the fact. And that's where it all got started. Now today, of course, still covering the OHL, but now is the play-by-play voice of the Barrie Colts. So this season has a special spot in my heart because it was my first year covering it as a media person, and it's where my roots started, and my path took it from there. So let's dive into it. The standings from this year, starting with the West Division, it would be the Sioux Greyhounds taking top spot. 44-18-2-4 was their record for 94 points. The Spitfires right there with them, but the Sioux had the tiebreaker as Windsor had a 41-15-75 record for 94 points. Sarnia Sting third with a record of 37-29-2 for 76 points. The Saginaw Spirit also had 76 points, but finished with a record of 33-25-2. Plymouth Whalers at the bottom of the division, 34-28-2-4, 74 points, but they would still make the playoffs. In the Midwest, the Kitchener Rangers, they dominated. They were the host of the Memorial Cup in 2008, so they were all in. A record of 53-11-1-3, 110 points. What a season it was for the Rangers. Second in the division, the London Knights, 38-24, 4-2 for 82 points, while the Guelph Storm finished third with a record of 34-25, 5-4 for 77 points. Missing the playoffs would be the Owen Sound Attack. They had a record, though, of 20-41-2-5 for 47 points. And the Erie Otters also missing the postseason with a record of 18-46-2-2 for 40 points. In the Central Division, it was the Brampton Battalion leading the way. They had a record of 42-22-1-3 for 88 points. The Niagara IceDogs, they would finish second with a record of 42-25-0-1 for 85 points. Mississauga St. Michael's Majors, third in the division, 31-32-2-3 for 67 points. While the Barrie Colts, fourth in the division, 28-34-3-3 for 62 points. And missing the playoffs would be the Sudbury Wolves, the record of 17-46-2-3 for 39 points. Now in the East Division, the Belleville Bulls, they had a solid run. 48-14-4-2 is their record for 102 points. The Oshawa Generals, second with a record of 38-17-6-7 for 89 points. The Ottawa 67s, they finished third with a record of 29-34-2-3 for 63 points. And the Peterborough Petes, fourth in the division, 28-36-1-3 for 60 points. Now, missing the playoffs again would be the Kingston Frontenacs. They finished with a record of 25-41-0-2 for 52 points. Now, it was a tough year on the ice for the Frontenacs, but they would move into their new home. At the time, it was known as the K-Rock Center after playing in the Kingston Memorial Center. So another one of those old rinks, one of the classics, would be shut down for OHL action, and a brand new rink with all the amenities and all the sight lines and whatnot for for the fans, and then of course the amenities for the players for off ice and whatnot. So it just continued to be the direction the league was going. And I know today we're still talking about new arenas having to be built. Look to Brantford, Sudbury, and even Peterborough has been a team that fans have been saying a new arena is needed as they want to move on to more modern facilities. Now, there was also tragedy during the regular season in Windsor. Spitfires captain Mickey Renaud, he actually passed away due to an undetected heart condition. And it was such a tough situation because it happened so late in the season as the team was in that final push for the playoffs. And it shocked many in the community. And for the city of Windsor, they announced that they would rename the road going up to WFCU Center as Mickey Renaud Way. That was when they would open the new arena. And the league also introducing the Mickey Renaud Captain's Trophy. So a nice touch there from the OHL. But again, it was such a heartbreaking situation. Renaud, the captain of the team, and the team would put his number 18 on the ice behind the nets. That was something they had there for several seasons after, but I know that has now been taken away. They don't do that anymore, but still, what an impact Renaud had when he was a member of the Windsor Spitfires. And yeah, it was quite the shock for the city and all the fans of the Windsor Spitfires. Now, looking at the top scorers for the Ontario Hockey League in 2007-2008, Justin Azevedo of the Kitchener Rangers would lead the way. 43 goals, 81 assists, 124 points. Brett McLean from the Oshawa Generals, second in scoring, 61 goals, 58 assists, 119 points. John Tavares, he was third in scoring with 40 goals, 78 assists, 118 points. Luca Caputi of the Niagara IceDogs was fourth in scoring, 51 goals, 60 assists, 111 points. Then you have Steven Stamkos, fifth in scoring from the Sarnia Sting, 58 goals, 47 assists, 105 points. Chris Terry of the Plymouth Whalers, 44 goals, 57 assists, 101 points. While Jack Combs of the Saginaw Spirit, he was seventh in scoring, 42 goals, 58 assists, 100 points. Michael Swift of the Niagara IceDogs, he was eighth in scoring, 38 goals, 62 assists, 100 points. From the Sioux Greyhounds, Dustin Jeffrey, 38 goals, 59 assists, 97 points. And rounding out the top 10, Josh Bailey of the Windsor Spitfires, 29 goals, 67 assists, 97 points. In the playoffs, we'll start with the Western Conference. The Kitchener Rangers dominant in the regular season, and that continued into the playoffs. They would sweep the Plymouth Whalers in 4 games, while the Sioux Greyhounds, no problem facing the Saginaw Spirit. That would also be a 4-game sweep, while the Windsor Spitfires upset in the first round by Sarnia, 4-1. Remember, the Mickey Renaud, he passed away. So this team going through a lot of emotions during this time, but Steven Stamkos kind of took over. And this was one of his best moments as the leader of the Sting before being drafted into the National Hockey League. Also in the first round, the Guelph Storm, they would eliminate the London Knights. That was in 5 games. Shifting to the Eastern Conference, the Belleville Bulls, they took care of the Peterborough Petes in 5 games. The Barrie Colts, they had Brampton's number. And again, this time in a 5-game series, they would eliminate the second-seeded Battalion. The Oshawa Generals complete the series sweep of the Ottawa 67s. And the Niagara IceDogs, they would sweep the Mississauga St. Michael's Majors. And this was an interesting series because there was not a lot of fans at the Hershey Center. I went to 2 of the games in Mississauga, and you just could sense that, it was tough because you lose the IceDogs. They're now in Niagara. Now you're supposed to cheer for your former rival, the Majors. So a lot of mixed emotions in Mississauga at the time. And I remember one of the broadcasters, I think it was Dan Dunleavy, calling the Niagara fans meatheads and also telling that, Mississauga, this is your team now. You have to cheer for the Majors to, make sure this team stays in the city. And yeah, it was such an interesting time with that shift. But the Niagara IceDogs, well embraced in St. Catharines, but in Mississauga, you could just get the sense that it was some awkward times with the fan base. Now, going into the second round, the Kitchener Rangers, they would sweep the Sarnia Sting, while the Sioux Greyhounds, they needed 5 games to take care of the Guelph Storm. In the Eastern Conference, the Belleville Bulls, no problems with Barrie. They would complete the series sweep, while the Oshawa Generals eliminate the Niagara IceDogs in 6 games. In the conference final, the Kitchener Rangers would suffer 1 defeat against the Greyhounds, as they would need 5 games to win the Western Conference Championship, while the Belleville Bulls, they would win the Eastern Conference in 5 games. In for the J. Ross Robertson Cup, Belleville versus Kitchener. Now the Rangers, they had a 3-0 series lead, and then Belleville forcing their way back into the series. it would go to 7 games, but the Kitchener Rangers would raise the J. Ross Robertson Cup on home ice at the Odd. It was a wild series. I remember there was reports of a fan from Kitchener having his jersey set on fire in Belleville, and it was just a wild series between those two teams. And of course, with Kitchener being the host of the Memorial Cup, the Belleville Bulls, they would be the runner-up. And also joining them, the Gatineau Olympique from the QMJHL and the Spokane Chiefs of the Western Hockey League. Now, Belleville, they had an impressive run in the round robin. They would go 2-1, while Kitchener kind of struggled. 1-2 was their record after the round robin. So that led to these two teams actually facing off in the semifinal. And this was the 9th meeting of the playoffs, the postseason, the championship series, and the Memorial Cup. And the Rangers, they were all out on the offense as they would defeat the Bulls 9-0 to book a ticket for the Memorial Cup final, where they would end up playing the Spokane Chiefs, and they would actually lose to the Chiefs by a score of 4-1. Now, what stands out the most is during the trophy presentation, it fell apart when Chris Burton was actually passing the trophy off to Trevor Glass, and you can find it on YouTube where they were handing off the trophy, and it just crumbled in their hands. Quite the moment, and something that really stands out from the 2008 Memorial Cup. Now, your award winners from this season, the Red Tilson Trophy and the Eddie Powers, both went to Justin Azevedo of the Kitchener Rangers, while the Matt Layden Trophy went to Bob Bugner of the Windsor Spitfires. John Hughes of the Brampton Battalion would win the Jim Mahon Memorial Trophy, while the OHL Goaltender of the Year, Mike Murphy of the Belleville Bulls, he was solid in net for the Bulls. The Dave Pickney Trophy would go to Kyle Jadrewski of the Sioux Greyhounds. The Bill Long Award went to Dan Brankley of the London Knights and Gil Hughes of the Oshawa Generals. The W.F. Dinty Moore Trophy went to Josh Eunice of the Kitchener Rangers, while the Ems Family Award, Taylor Hall of the Windsor Spitfires, he would leave his mark in the OHL in the upcoming seasons. Michael Swift, he won the Leo Lalonde Memorial Trophy, while the William Hanley went to Nick Spalling of the Kitchener Rangers. And the Wayne Gretzky 99 Award, Justin Azevedo would win that from the Kitchener Rangers. So the 2007-2008 season, a memorable one for myself, but let me know in the comments below what stood out to you during that season, as there was a lot of great moments, some tragic moments, of course, the Windsor Spitfires that we touched on, but let me know in the comments down below your thoughts, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we will talk to you again soon.